update on Justin?
Yeah, Dano, Justin is day to day. I think he's gotten a lot of rest since the last game. But I think the nature of the week is it's truly going to be case by case, day by day basis. I know that he's feeling more comfortable. I know that he was able to do some light throwing yesterday, some rotational work. But we're just going to take it day by day and see where his comfort level is and truly trust him and let him kind of be the guide of where we're at and make sure we're prepared either way.
Is he going to practice today?
He'll be out at practice for individual today. And again, we're going to try and take it, day by day and period by period to see where we're at.
Is there any recent history here with a quarterback who had a rib situation and the doctor? Is there any trepidation about Justin's treatment or anything that needs to be, any concerns that need to be eased as you guys go forward with that?
Yeah, Lindsay, I think this is obviously it's of the utmost importance, but all of our players, any player that goes through something like this is, that's your biggest responsibility as a coach, is to take care of your players. And so I think we have full alignment with Justin, his family, his agents, and then, the medical professionals, and that's what we're going to try and do is have alignment that way and just kind of trust the process and hopefully get him well soon.
Do you know the plan, or could you talk to any of the possibilities of if there could be an injection or a flap jacket, or is that just day by day?
Yeah, Bridget, I definitely from a protection standpoint out on the field, the rib protector, he'll definitely have that for sure. And then the nature of the treatment plan, I think that's day to day. And I think as those specifics become available, as things like that happen or, are planning to happen, we'll make sure that we communicate that.
Brandon, what goes into your process of making the determination of whether or not he'll be able to play on Sunday?
We're going to listen to Justin, number one. The players at the front of all the decisions that we make here since I've become the head coach is to make sure that the players at the front of all the decision making, their families, their agents, their team, and then making sure that we have alignment with the medical team. And I think that's been my position since I become the head coach. I think that that's where the modern NFL is, and making sure that they're at the front of every decision that we make and that they have long careers ahead of them. And we got to make sure that they're as safe and sound as possible. And we know that it's a tough game, and we want to make sure that they're able to play it. And so just try to have full communication amongst all those parties and then come to a good decision there each and every time we go out there.
That said, if he can tolerate the pain, will it be his decision on whether or not he can play on Sunday?
Yeah, it'll start with him, and then obviously him feeling good about what the medical team feels like is best, him weighing, the options, and then us making a good decision. And I think that, again, it's kind of day to day with him, but we'll keep communicating as the week goes on.
Just to follow up, you said throwing and rotational work yesterday, everything check out there? Can you respond okay from that?
Yeah, in terms of being able to go ahead and go, through an individual today, yes.
And so is there anything in practice that you would have to see from him to be convinced, or no?
Yeah, just making sure that Justin feels like he can go do the job the way that he can do it. And that's the big thing, is just him having confidence to be able to go play the game the way it needs to be played. And again, I don't think that that's going to be determined today. It's going to be determined as the week goes up until the game. Because I think when I say it's day to day, it's how he's feeling. And so, that could go all the way up until Sunday.
Do you change your game plan? Are you going to try and focus more on run game? I know that was an issue the first couple of weeks, or you're just basically doing everything as well?
Yeah, I think, you're starting with, you're preparing for Jacksonville and what they do, how they do it, and then featuring who we're going to have available in the game. And then certainly, if Chase is our quarterback, that factors into a different equation, which we'll be ready for. And then if Justin plays, we'll be ready for that too. And so that's part of our job. And, the plan would be different if we had a different quarterback, but that's part of the job.
How much does Chase usually, in terms of snaps with the ones during the week, since it sounds like this week, at least for this practice, he's going to take all the ones in team today?
Yeah, Chase has done this his whole career, and the way we do it is, we've had to do this before, and Chase is going to be ready to play. And during the week, if Justin's full go for the week, then he doesn't get any of the team reps walkthrough and stuff like that, and then he'll take the work team. But if he's the guy that's practicing out there, then he'll take the lion's share of the reps, and we'll be ready to go.
What about Keenan Allen?
Yeah, Lindsey Keenan and Donald Parham, they're day-to-day. They'll be an individual, trending positive. Trey Pipkins is day-to-day as well with the lateral foot. And then Corey Lindsley is day-to-day with his knee.
What happened with Corey? Like, was there a specific play? Because he played until the end of the half there, and then...
Yeah, just it kind of going into the game, and at the beginning of the game, just kind of felt a little bit, tried to play through it, and then just couldn't go in the second half. But it's kind of a day-to-day thing with his knee. Hopefully with the rest and the week here, we can get him feeling good by game day. But it wasn't like a specific play, no.
Is it related to those practices that he missed, the 2 practices he missed in like week 0 before you guys went into the Raiders week? He missed a couple practices, walked off the field with Damon Mitchell. Was that?
Yeah, no, not related to that, no.
It's only been a couple of games, but apparently Jacksonville has taken some nice strides, especially since last season. When do you see them most improved?
Yeah, they got a nice team. They've got a very improved football team. I think, starting with the additions they made on defense. They spent a lot of money on defense, have a lot of high draft capital on defense. Their front, is a front I'm very, very familiar with. The rushers, Trayvon Walker, Josh Allen, Kalavion Chason, those guys are excellent. DeJuan Smoot, and then Roy Robertson Harris, I was with him in Chicago. He's an outstanding player. Fodakasi was one of the top free agents, last year. I think that, you really start with that group. The 2 linebackers, they got a first-rounder, Devin Lloyd. The other linebacker they got from Atlanta, who's an outstanding player. And then in the secondary, they got Shaq Griffin, who's one of the high free agents a couple years ago. Tyson Campbell, high draft pick. Darius Williams, who I was with at the Rams, who's an outstanding player. And then Rayshawn, who I have a lot of respect for, and Andre Sisco. So they've got a really good group on defense. And then on offense, you start with Trevor. Trevor, I think has got a chance to be a really good player in this league. I think you've seen him make the progress through 2 games where you can say, hey, man, this guy's an improved NFL football player. And they've really improved the supporting cast at receiver, getting Christian Kirk, Marvin Jones, who I have a lot of respect for. I was in the division with him in Chicago when he was in Detroit. He's been a receiver in this league for a long time, very productive. Zay Jones, who we played against last year, is a receiver, very quality. And then the backs, I think, are good, Robinson and Etienne. And, they brought Scherf on the O-line to make sure this guy's protected. They've got high draft picks to tackle. It's a very complete group. They brought in Evan Ingram, and I think, this is a group that, the way they've gotten off to a good start. I mean, they could have won, they could very easily be 2-0, but the way they won last week, it certainly grabs your attention. They're a very quality football team, and Doug is an outstanding coach.
Brandon, J.C. Jackson played the full game last Thursday. How's he feeling going into this week?
Hey, he's good. It's just sore, your first action in a while, and just getting that game wind and the residual soreness, afterwards. But we were glad to get him out there and see him compete. And like I said, I like the way he played for his first game, and a lot of improvement to make. But it's good to have him out there.
Coach, going back to pitch a shutout in the NFL, what did the Jags defense do to Indy last week in your eyes?
Just played team defense. Did a really good job against the back. Everyone knows what a good back Taylor is. Did a really good job against the back, and then really rushed the passer, created 3 takeaways, and just, really controlled the game from the beginning to the end. And, you don't shut a team out in this league without playing a complete game. All 3 levels of your defense, run game, pass game, rushing the passer, and then getting the takeaways. And they were able to do that from the first snap to the last one, and it was a very impressive performance.
On the pick 6 Thursday night, you guys went tempo there. I know we talked about it a little bit on Friday, but just operationally for you as a coaching staff, how does that work? Is that if we get in the red zone, we're going to go tempo in the first place, so ahead of time? Is it like a tag on the play call? How does that work operationally?
Yeah, operationally, when you have an explosive like that, just kind of clicking into a one-word, cadence to alert everyone to know that we're going. And it's a tactic that, we try to use, especially after an explosion, especially down in there, force communication, simplify the defense, and really dictate the terms. And, obviously it didn't go well down there, but operationally very simple and, something that we've used very successfully in the past. And, that was just a tough one.
You call it like unlucky and unfortunate. Obviously, Jared was like calling to get subbed out. You know, you guys are going tempo. You're trying to take advantage of the defense in that situation. How can you determine if a player like wants to come out and you're going tempo? Like, how does, do you have like a spotter that can see that? Like, how does that?
Yeah, for sure, Daniel. You know, as position coach myself, I saw it, and I take full responsibility for that play. I saw Gerald. We felt like we could keep him in and dictate the pace of that. It was kind of a simple play, a simple job responsibility, but in retrospect, you know, certainly it's one as a coach that I'll learn from, you know, and operationally we take full ownership, and I think that all of us can learn from that, but me most of all, and, you know, I'm responsible for what happened on that play.
Jacksonville on offense, how much of it, Brandon, is a carryover from what Doug did in Philly, or has he put his own stamp on it from coming up through Andy?
Yeah, I think he's trying to feature the quarterback, number one. I think he's always done a good job of that, no matter what stop it's been, but he's got good coaches on that staff. Press Taylor, who's got really good experiences, you know, Mike McCoy. They've got a very good offensive staff, and, you know, I think that what you're seeing is they're featuring the offense that Trevor's comfortable with, not somebody else that Trevor's comfortable with. And I think you can see that in how he's played in the first two games, because he's an outstanding player. This guy was as good as it gets in college football. I mean, there's a reason why he was the #1 overall pick, highly regarded player. You know, I've known about Trevor since he was in high school at Cartersville in Georgia. And so I just think that they've done a nice job of building the offense around him.
They use a lot of motion, but they've also lined up in trips a lot more compared to other teams throughout the league. Just how much of a matchup problem can that be with motion and going trips?
I mean, anytime you force the defense to adjust, you increase your chances of being successful, and motion is a big predictor of offensive success. The play-action game, early down, passing, all that type of stuff, you know, creating completions for the guy, making sure he's well protected, you know, having balance, run and pass, but in terms of the types of plays that you're featuring, you know, but being able to get your quarterback completions, you know, and I think that that's what you saw last week is that there was just a lot of completions for him. He was able to really operate and spread the ball around and keep the chains moving. And, you know, and then Kirk has given them a big play element to their offense, and, you know, they're off to a good start.
What have you seen out of Kenneth Murray through these first two games? Seems like he's playing a little bit faster, a little more disciplined. I don't know if I'm seeing it right.
Yeah, we're really, really pleased with his progress. I think not having the spring, not having most of training camp, for him to perform like he has the first two games, you know, we're optimistic about his progress, and he just needs to stay at it. But he's seeing the game. I think he's playing physical at the point of attack. I think he's finishing plays. I think his communication is really improved, and that's what he's got to do. He's just got to stay after it, stay on that practice field, stay in that meeting room, and you'll continue to see the improvement because it means a lot to him, and I think you'll continue to see even more from him as we go.
The whole attitude, it seems, of that entire franchise has shifted, and a lot of it attributed to the arrival of Doug Peterson. How easy or how difficult is it to make such a dramatic change that quickly as a coach?
I think you go in and you be yourself, and you know that you have to affect every part of the organization to make change happen. You know, you're not just affecting the players and the coaches. You know, you got to be around everybody in the building. You got to be around your fan base, and you got to have the energy and the stamina for that, and understand that you have a real impact every day of setting the table for your organization. And I think Doug's done that before. He's played quarterback in this league at the highest level, played for a lot of different franchises around a lot of special players, was a great player himself. And then, you know, as a coach, he's been, you know, obviously he's worked for a lot of quality franchises, and he's a Super Bowl champion. So I think that he's got all the confidence in the world from a resume standpoint, and then from a personality standpoint, knowing what needs to be done when he gets there, and surrounding yourself with good people and good players, and normally that's a good formula.
How would you evaluate Asante Samuel Jr. 2 weeks in?
I'm really excited about Asante Samuel Jr. Feel like he's playing at a high level, very much improved as a player. Playing with a lot of confidence. It's earned confidence. He's been around the ball, had to cover, you know, a lot of good players, a lot of tough downs the first 2 weeks, but he's impacting the game, and that's the best thing you can say about a corner is that he's making a lot of plays and he's not giving very many up, you know, and I think he's improved in all ways. And like I mentioned with Kenneth, he's just at the beginning, so he's got to make sure that just continue to work, and that's that's part of why we love him. He's a gym rat, and he'll continue to improve because he puts a lot into it.
Did you see a lot of similar comparisons with Justin and Trevor? Both guys, come in high profile, expected to turn a franchise around, in that regard?
Yeah, I think, all these quarterbacks are so different, but I think where the comparison is that, I think they both, I think Trevor, when I look from him from afar, what I know of him from afar is that he's got poise, and he's got the composure, and you need that as a young player. When there's that type of pressure on you, those type of expectations, which are not new to him, because he was one of the highest recruits in the country, played at Clemson, he's used to it. But, I think that just that poise, and that composure, that takes you a long way. It earns the respect of your teammates and coaches, earns the respect of your fans. You have to be a resilient player, when you're young, especially at quarterback with those types of expectations. And, like I said, I think he's got a chance to be a good player in the league.
How does having JC on the back end change the usage for Michael Davis when the secondary is at full strength? Has Michael Davis kind of factored in things?
Yeah, we're really pleased with Mike, his progress. He played really well the other night in the kicking game. And I think he gives you another option as a cover player to cover a bunch of different types of guys. And we're going to need him. We consider him a starting player for us. And, in that first game, he gave us a real chance to win that game. I thought he played a quality game in the first game. And again, he's a very improved player, and we're going to need him moving forward.